Let's talk Fulham, shall we?
Yep.
So for me, I mean, Scott Parker, I'm not a Fulham fan, but I've enjoyed Scott Parker at Fulham. I think they've had a tough season. I think there's been real glimpses of brilliance in there, and what's been tricky, maybe not the right recruitment, I'm not really sure, like some good loan spells and that sort of stuff. But what do you think? Do you think Scott Parker's the one to take them back up again?
I like Scotty Parker in terms of the way he kind of carries himself, the tactics. And if I'm honest, I think maybe potentially he could take them back, but I think he's a bit better than that. I think he could get a job in the Premier League and stay there. I think he's shown enough that he can do that. I know Fulham have gone down, but there were periods through this season they got off to a horrendous start. I think the first 4 games I think they lost, but it was the manner in which they lost. They were conceding goals in like the first couple of minutes in every game, so they were never really giving themselves any kind of chance in any of the games. Then they had a long period of, I think it was about 5 or 6 games where they drew, where they were winning, they put in a great performance. I think it was the Liverpool game where they were fantastic, but they go 1-0 up, end up conceding. Now you think if they could have just turned 1 or 2 of these draws, because they had a lot of draws in this period, they didn't lose for 5 games, but they didn't win any. If they could have just turned any of them kind of draws into wins, they would have given themselves a massive opportunity. But they said the table doesn't lie. They haven't got enough points, haven't scored enough goals, and ultimately they've paid the price. But you'd have to say at times they looked okay this season. But unfortunately, then West Brom and Sheffield United are the ones to kind of suffer this season. They
did, because they pulled out wins against Everton at Goodison, Liverpool as well, at Anfield, and you looked at it and thought, Ali, there's a glimmer of hope there, and there was a real belief in that side.
There was, guys. There was a lot of hope and a lot of belief, and if you listen to Scott Parker, I thought his interviews were always extremely positive. And if you're a Fulham player or indeed a supporter listening to it, you'd be delighted with what you heard. But you mentioned those games, and I repeat myself. I saw them at Spurs; they were excellent. Got a draw like that, like you say, Benty, and it's a game they could have and should have won, and it's an extra 2 points clearly. But I always felt, like I said, Laura, I always felt that they were short of Newcastle. I thought it was a kind of, crazy it may sound, I thought it was a kind of 2-horse race for that final relegation place. But I always felt that the importance of Callum Wilson and Alan Saint-Maximin was massive to Newcastle. And I always believed that they would make the difference when they come back. And it's a great team effort, I've got to say, from Newcastle. But these two guys have made a massive difference.
It's goal scorers.
And that's the thing. If you look at the bottom of the table, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's the case of, you look at obviously Sheffield United. They signed Bruce up for whatever reason. That's not really worked. He's not really scored. Not given a run in the games. Ollie McBurney's there. It's not really worked. You go West Brom, real lack of goals. Fulham just got relegated yesterday, real lack of goals. And we always said with Newcastle, if they can keep Wilson fit, or he can come back from injury sooner rather than later. Because I think there was a point, was it about 2 points or 1 point that if Fulham had won, they would have jumped Newcastle. But it was a case of, if Wilson come back quick, St. Maximum, they give themselves a massive opportunity. And look what's happened. They come back.
Yeah.
Newcastle look like they're comfortably going up the table.
That game against Burnley was quite big for them, sorry, Ali, where basically St. Maximin, Callum Wilson came off the bench, turned things around and got a win, and they haven't really looked back. A couple of losses in there, of course, but still secured their safety.
Well, the difference in their level of performance has been remarkable since those two guys come back. I was just going to ask you, Ben, in terms of Callum Wilson, I'm a big fan, massive fan. I saw him at St James's. I think they got a nothing each draw with Liverpool earlier on in the season. I thought he was excellent, mate. I really did. I thought he was terrific.
Yeah.
I'm looking at centre forwards for Gareth's squad, right? And I said yesterday, Harry Kane clearly is out on his own.
Yep.
I had Calvert-Lewin slightly above, in my opinion, slightly above the rest. But then after that, you've got Bamford, Greenwood, Callum Wilson, Ollie Watkins. Has Callum Wilson got a chance?
Well, listen, he's doing himself massive service in terms of getting himself in that squad, because he's ended the season in the right way, scoring goals, playing really, really well. Because I was thinking about this the other day when I looked at him scoring his couple of goals against Leicester. And you're right, Kane obviously is the number one. I think Calvert-Lewin's been superb, so I think he's the number two. Yeah. But when you just go after that, you start thinking, well, Ings has had his injuries. I don't know if he's going to make it. I think Greenwood probably will go, just because he's so versatile, playing from the right, playing down the middle, and can score a goal. He's got great technique. But you're right, Callum Wilson, I put him in that same. Tammy Abraham's kind of fallen away. So I think he's got a massive chance. And if he ends the season strong like he is at the minute, scoring goals, then he's going to give Gareth a massive problem. Because I don't think, other than Calvert-Lewin and Kane, there's anyone who'd go, they're nailed on to go in that centre forward role anyway.
You said a minute ago that Scott Parker was too good for Fulham. Can you see him going to a job like a Spurs job? Because a few people have been touting him for Spurs.
Yeah, because I think they need a rebuild. And as I said, he what was good about Scott Parker this season, and I know, yes, I understand they've got relegated, but he understand and identified the problems at the start of the season, and he changed it. Because as I said, first 4 games, I said this could be the worst team in Premier League history. They kept conceding goals early. They were getting battered. They couldn't score any goals, and he kind of changed it, and they were a lot harder to beat. And yes, I know ultimately they've not won enough games, but they look better. But there's no reason why he can't go to a Spurs. Scott Parker.
Do you think he could go somewhere else?
Crystal Palace seems to be the one as well that all of a sudden seems like it's one of the most attractive jobs.
I was thinking Sean Dyche of Palace, because we know that there was a link there before. Whether or not that would be a good move for him, Ali.
We're talking about Scotty Parker, and I agree, I like him. I do like him, but the fact of the matter is he's managed a team that's been relegated, and that's one of the reasons I'm not sure he's ready for Spurs, mate. But we should be talking about Sean Dyche for bigger clubs. Right, no disrespect to Burnley, and I even hate myself for saying no disrespect to Burnley, because I love Burnley. I absolutely love them. I love watching them. I love everything they do. 4-4-2. Spoke about it before. 2 boys at the back. Me, Tarkowski, got a good goalie. Boys in the middle of the park are solid. McNeil's got a bit of quality about him, and the 2 lads up front, they're like a throwback for me. Benty, I love them because they work their socks off you. They know their strengths. They play to their strengths, and that's what Burnley do. And as I say, I just think the job that Sean Dyche has done at Burnley is absolutely fantastic.
Ali, would you see that as a kind of, if Sean Dyche went to Palace, as a step up, or how would you kind of?
Well, do you know something, mate? I don't know. That you'd probably be better qualified to answer that question than me. I mean, clearly they're not the level, the next level. They're not Spurs, they're not Arsenal, they're those teams. So I'm not sure whether it's kind of much of a muchness. Although Palace clearly a London side, I don't know. I genuinely couldn't answer that one because I don't know the answer to the question. But we keep saying, has Sean Dyche, done all he can do at Burnley? That's the question, and Sean Dyche will probably be the only man that can answer that question. But I don't think any of us can deny the job that he's done there over the years. Exceptional.